You there, frustrated songwriter. You tired of looking at pages of bland song lyrics? Fear not, because now you can learn to write your best ever lyrics using our new patented formula, A.A.Z, approved and tested by a stable of affiliates to stringent standards, proven to revitalize your lyrics and bring them out shiny and exciting. Safe and simple to use, A.A.Z will give your lyrics a professional sheen that is off the charts, or should we say, in the charts. So next time you find yourself struggling with lyrics, get out your A.A.Z. They're not making like they used to. So what that awesome 1940s advert, a really convincing advert was about, was actually 3 literary techniques. 3 techniques that you can use for your song lyrics to enhance the quality of your lyrics and just make them more superior. And if you're like me and you've got like pads of paper with lyrics in just lying around that have been forgotten about, or you've ever thought to yourself you're not a very good lyric writer, then A.A.Z could be the thing that finally makes your lyric writing more dynamic, more potent, and just bloody great. So I'll be showing you the method behind each letter and then some examples of them in popular music like by The Police, Rolling Stones, Nick Cave, David Bowie. And then I've written some of my own lyrics to use as an example so you can see how to use them in your own lyrics. So without further ado, let's get our A.A.Z out. So this first one is great for adding catchy, hooky, lyrical lines to your lyrics. Okay, it's called antimetabole. Yeah, I know, they've all got weird names. I think they derived from ancient Greek or something like that. But the names are less important. What they can do for your lyrics is important. So I like to think of antimetabole as creating mirrored meanings, where you take a line and you kind of hold a mirror up against it, and the opposite is reflected out and you get an inverted meaning coming out of the other side. And this technique creates a pleasing symmetry to a chosen lyric. And we like symmetry as human beings, so we're actually tapping into real psychology here. It can be used to create interesting relationships between 2 things, contrast 2 ideas, and emphasize one over the other. So for some examples of antimetabole, we can use it to create humour, like in this joke. I'm not a writer with a drinking problem, I'm a drinker with a writing problem. It's funny because it inverts the reality, and now it's the writing that's the unhealthy addiction, not the drinking. It can also be used to write powerful lines in speeches. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. It's also great for song lyrics. Muse Knights of Sidonia, don't waste your time or time will waste you. Simple, but kind of profound. Stephen Stills, love the one you're with. If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. Again, just inverts that meaning. So long Marianne, Leonard Cohen. I forget to pray for the angels and the angels forget to pray for us. The piranhas getting beaten up. What is mind, it doesn't matter. What is matter, never mind. It can also be used in a more loose fashion where only part of the phrase is inverted and words are switched out, like Changes by David Bowie. Time can change you, but you can't trace time. And the same goes for Take It to the Limit by the Eagles. Really like this song. You can spend all your time making money. You can spend all your love making time. Again, it's kind of an inverted meaning. And if it had just said, you can spend all your love making time, that wouldn't have had as much of an impact if you hadn't have prefaced it with you can spend all your time making money. Because it's a juxtaposition against the other phrase that makes the second one stand out more. So flipping the meaning of a phrase or sentence can create a powerful idea. And it also makes it more memorable. So can this work for you? Now I've already worked this out in advance, otherwise I'd have been sat here all day. But what I did is I pretty much spent 45 minutes or an hour writing out 3-4 pages of lyrics just so I could then apply these methods to them. But what I've done is I've created a cool little formula that you can apply early on when you're first thinking your lyric ideas that really gets some strong mirrored meanings. But the ones I got from my existing lyrics that sound okay are, for example, that stop them from knowing how to find the stars, and the stars find a way of knowing how to stop. I don't mind this one. I tried to show you what I mean to show you that I tried. Quite like that. Those 2 could work together quite well, I think, in a certain sort of context. You know that we can't just be lovers, and you love the fact we just can't know. I don't mind that either. It makes you think a little bit. And it does it does show that reflection of the first line in the second. This one's a bit weird. Because you are one and I the other. Because the other and I are one. Are you? So it's become some weird sort of Jungian psychological question or something. Because the other and I are one. Are you? I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that on my own. So I guess it's cool for coming up with profound lines that could be thought-provoking. But yeah, I only found 3 or 4 ideas there. So yeah, thinking of these ideas from scratch was a lot easier. I'm feeling really tired because I'm really tired of feeling. That was quite good. Is it the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning? That's a little bit cliched, isn't it? But it still works. Am I starting to lose the feeling or feeling the loss of starting? So again, it's easier to start from the premise that you're going to mirror the word and then to think through it with the idea in mind from the beginning. Much easier. But I found an even easier way, which is this little system that I created. So it seems to work well mirroring feelings and a verb together, or a verb and a feeling. It doesn't matter which way around. And you keep the sentences really short. So you have just like one adjoining word between the verb and the feeling. So for example, I've got love to eat to love. Desire the drive, drives the desire. Excited to play, that flips as play to excite. So you get these ideas. It can be thought-provoking. You can look and say, the desire to drive drives the desire. That could work in a lyric. And then I took it one step further and I thought, well, what if you wanted to decide up front what the punchline was going to be, what the message was going to be, and then work backwards from there. So being more intentional, starting with the end in mind. So in this case, if the point to drive home is to be scared of dying, you could say, right, kind of mirror that. Scared of dying, you've got your feeling, scared, and then you've got dying, which is the verb. Flip it, dying to be scared. Okay, kind of build that out into a lyric now, and kind of make it have sense within a bigger sentence. So build it into a full lyric. With all the risks you're taking, it's like you're dying to be scared. But behind the mask you're faking, I think you're really scared of dying. I don't mind that. It'd been better if I could find a way of making it rhyme a bit better, but it makes you think a little bit. I quite like it. Or if we chose leaving love as the final idea, to leave love. We flip it, leaving love, love to leave, so loving to leave. How can we build that into a full lyric? The broken hearts you left behind all said you loved to leave, but where are you going to end up if you're always leaving love? That kind of makes sense. That kind of has a bigger meaning about someone just throwing things away and ending up with nothing. Quite like that. So yeah, flipping the meaning of a sentence can create a powerful new idea, ultimately, and this is a great way of emphasising certain meanings in your words and playing around with ideas, giving you some more interesting ideas for you and your audience to chew over in your lyrics. So the next one is great and it's effective and it's easy to do, and it's called anaphora. And these are all literary devices, by the way. They're called literary devices, probably used in poetry and have been for a long time, but obviously they apply really well to lyrics. So what does anaphora do? It expresses a strong feeling in your song, creates rhythm in the lyrics, whether that rhythm is gentle or rousing or relentless. The repetition also helps us to more clearly link two or more ideas. So repetition is a big part of this. And also, this is a big one for songwriters, it makes the phrase more memorable for the listener, so it lends itself to having a catchy song. It gives the song a strong structure to your verse or chorus idea, and it adds emphasis on certain words or ideas. So the repetition of a word or expression at the beginning of successive phrases, or several lyrical lines with the same word or phrase at the beginning of each line. So some examples: Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Far From Me. For you, dear, I was born. For you, I was raised up. For you, I've lived, and for you, I will die. For you, I'm dying now. Not the jolliest of lyrics, but you can see there that repetition of the word for you to really hammer that point home. Paul McCartney, maybe I'm amazed. Maybe I'm amazed at the way you love me all the time. Maybe I'm afraid of the way I love you. Maybe I'm amazed at the way you pulled me out of time and hung me on a line. Maybe I'm amazed at the way I really need you. Kind of mushy for me, but it works. Maybe I'm kind of repeating that theme. And then the use of anaphora in Every Breath You Take by The Police. 1.4 million views can't be, no, 1.4 billion views can't be wrong. Every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. So there it's repeating that word every to really kind of get you into the thought process of what the guy's thinking about. And that repetition's quite powerful. So how do you use this in your lyrics? I'll show you by demonstrating out my lyrics. Is it easy? Is it hard to do? All will be revealed. I had a look and tried to pick out any interesting or eye-catching little phrases that I could repeat, and I found 3 or 4 that I liked, that I thought I'm going to pull those out and then try and develop them out. So the tower, I kept that idea. All the while, cast a net. So don't let the light fade. So those 4 ideas I then put onto a separate page and then build them out from there. So we've got the tower, silent as a tree. The tower waits for you and me. The tower with its secrets deep, for those who scale the walls and leap. So that repetition of the word tower kind of creates this image of this big, giant structure just waiting silently with all its secrets inside it or something. Cast a net and try to find it. Cast a net and look inside. Cast a net only to see that you can't cast a net on me. I thought that sounded like a Rolling Stones chorus or something. And that could work well in a certain sort of song. And we've got, so don't let the light fade on this love. So don't let the rain come down from above. So don't let the time come and go where we get to forgetting what we tried to know. That theme of don't let this go, don't let this end. And then, all the while you were holding it inside, all the while you were hearing my reply, all the while you were saying it out loud, but only to the mirror and you never made a sound. So again, harking back to some event or some period of time, you just keep repeating that all the while, all the while, all the while. I think this technique of anaphora is really good for creating strong themes in your song and sing-along lines that people can get into and remember it by, and then it reinforces a central idea that the song represents, and it could end up being the title of the song as well. So that's pretty cool. And then the last one, last but not least, because this is a really cool technique. It's probably this last technique is probably the most impressive and the most thought-provoking one. It's called zoigma, another weird Greek word. It kind of creates the literary equivalent of a double take. It makes the listener want to pause for thought or want to linger over the skillful play of the language that they're hearing. It inspires more involvement from the listener in the experience of the song. It changes the rhythm and structure of a sentence. It's a figure of speech in which a word applies to 2 others in different senses. I see it as like the way I use a tennis ball, this tennis ball here. So on one day I might go and play tennis with it, and another day I'll use it to roll the knots out of my back muscles against the wall because my back's a mess. So it's the same ball, but the way I'm using it gives it a different function. So we've got the governing word, and then the meaning of the relationship between the governing word and the 2 words that we're applying it to changes. And I'll show you some examples to make it more understandable. So, Alanis Morissette, Head Over Feet. You held your breath and the door for me. So you can see, held is the governing word, and then breath and door for me. Sorry, breath and door are the 2 words it's affecting in a different way. To hold your breath is different to hold a door for someone. The Rolling Stones, Honky Tonk Woman, she blew my nose and then she blew my mind. So again, to blow your nose is a literal use of the word blue, and then to blow someone's mind is a figurative use of the word blue. So that creates an interesting image in the mind to think about something literally and figuratively at the same time. Maybe it creates a depth or makes your mind work in two different ways at once and makes the lyrics more interesting. Beast of Burden by the Rolling Stones. I'll tell you, you can put me out on the street, put me out with no shoes on my feet, but put me out of my misery. So again, to put someone out on the street would be a more literal term, because you're pushing them out, closing the door. Put them out of my misery, well, that's more a kind of giving someone closure to some bad news that they're expecting or something like that. So it's a literal and a figurative use of the term. Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Once upon a time I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart. So there, falling is used in two different ways. And then Bob Dylan, now when all the clowns that you have commissioned have died in battle or in vain. So to die in battle is physical, and to die in vain is physical, but in a different sense of the word. It's more like you died for no reason, or you died and no good came of it. So how can you use Zeugma in your lyrics? Well, again, we'll look at the words I wrote out and see how it worked out for me. I think I've got some okay ones actually. So I was just looking for words that I could use in two senses. So I found here, we can't move an inch. So we can't move an inch, but we can still move mountains. So the term move an inch is more of a literal one. But we can still move mountains. Actually, they're both kind of figurative, aren't they? Can't move an inch, you don't literally mean you can't move an inch. It's an exaggeration at best. But one is moving, talking about moving yourself, and the other is talking about moving a mountain. And moving mountains means doing big things, doesn't it? So it is definitely having the word move applied to those two words in different ways. Oh, this one I liked. While they're sharpening their tools, you're sharpening your wit. And that was just taken from the original line, don't believe the jesters, clowns or fools, except the ones who look like you while sharpening their tools. And that's got an interesting meaning. Someone sharpening their tools is like someone getting ready to do a job. Whether it's for good or for bad, I don't know. But it looks like they're in competition to you, and then you're sharpening your wit. So you're going to deal with the situation in a different way. You know that we just can't be lovers if we can't be just to all the others. I don't know if that is actually an example of Zeugma or not. We just can't be lovers if we can't be just to all the others. It's definitely using the word just in a different sense. And so it does create an interesting meaning that I wouldn't have thought of otherwise, but whether it's actually probably some English expert out there who could tell me, but I still like it anyway. I tried to show you what I mean and wipe both of our slates clean. And I've got, and wipe both of our slates clean as we wipe out on waves unseen. So, yeah, both kind of figurative in the sense that to wipe a slate clean is to start again, and to wipe out on a wave, in this sense, to wipe out on waves unseen, obviously means to crash together in a way that you're not sure how it's happening. But the way that wipe has been used with the other words is definitely in a different sense. To wipe a slate clean and to wipe out are two different senses. So I definitely think I've improved some of my lyrics there and given myself some stronger lines and sections to then write a superior final lyric than I usually would. So the next thing to do is to edit them into a finished idea and put them into a song. But that's for another video. So A.A.Z. Get some. With the mirroring effect of anti-metabole, you can create strong meanings and memorable phrases. The repetition in anaphora gives you robust themes and singable choruses or verses, and the clever wordplay in Zeugma causes the listener to consider your lyrics more deeply. So now you've got 3 great techniques to write more superior lyrics with. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like, and if they're of any use to you. And I'll see you in the next video.